I've lost track of the number of times I've heard people use the word rapport but not really understand what it actually means. In this video, I'm going to share with you a really simple idea, nothing complex, that you can use to instantly build rapport and connect with anyone. This is going to help you, when you're in a networking situation, in any setting, in business, in life, in relationships, your career, to really go beyond that surface level that most people stay at. You have a conversation, you meet someone, you have a bit of small talk maybe at a networking event, but you never really get to share what you're really about or get to hear what they are really about. And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to go into that in this video. This is something that will help you to understand what people really want and then give it to them in your sales, whether you're working with young people, trying to get your message across to them, but just to really connect, those heart-to-hearts that you have with people when you just have an amazing conversation, and from that moment, this is you're my kind of person, you're my kind of human being. And here's the thing, most of the time when we go through life and we are experiencing things, we don't actually respond to the situation itself, we respond to our experience of it. So we're reacting to our lens or our filter of what we're experiencing. So to give you an example, you're on a conversation, you're on a call with someone, you're having a conversation, and you start talking about religion. And you might notice that immediately, even if you didn't even say anything about what you believe, that person starts to project and starts talking about all the things that they believe. At that moment, you might have just said one thing, even in an argument, for example, and that other person that you're in an argument with latches onto that one thing that you said. But it was never about that surface level thing. It was about something deeper. And often we project things based on, what we think what we imagine it to be. We project onto what we think people are like or how we expect them to be. And then we start to react to those things. Another good example is relationships, dating, business. Normally, when people react to stuff, they're not responding to the situation itself objectively, but subjectively are responding to their experience of something, to their experience and their filter that they've built up over time, unconsciously, consciously, of how they see things. So how can you use this to your advantage? Well, what most people do is they in turn react to their filter. So you've got two conversations happening. How many times have you had a conversation with someone? They ask you, how's it going? How was your holiday? How was this thing you did? You start talking and then they interrupt you. And then they start talking about their experience of that thing. But you never actually finish saying what you are actually going to talk about. A really simple thing that you can do that most people don't is be silent. Go into noble silence and just listen actively. And you'll be surprised, and I know it seems so obvious that I'm saying this, but you'll be surprised how many people don't do this. How many times you don't do this. I, myself, even though I know this, I'm sharing in a video, I catch myself sometimes, straight up honesty, where I'm talking to someone, maybe it's a friend that I haven't spoken to in ages, and I get super excited, and I butt in, I interject, I interrupt their trail of thought, and then the conversation moves in another direction. Whereas what most great coaches do, what most great listeners do, is they create the space and the time for you to really think out loud. And a really simple way that you can do this and to practice this is the next time you're in a conversation, ask a question like, what exciting things have you been up to recently? And then wait, pause. And you'll notice there might be an awkward silence, and that's okay. Just let the other person speak. And as you observe, you'll notice things. I first picked this up when I did a 10-day meditation retreat in complete noble silence. And because I wasn't reacting to things, I wasn't speaking and I wasn't interrupting people, I had the time and the space to really notice the little intricacies, their body language, their eye contact, when they smile, when they particularly talk about something, or how they're expressing themselves. And you can only notice that when you're really listening. And a great way to do that is to create the space, like I said, and ask open questions. Let the other person lead the conversation rather than you coming in with your agenda and then imposing it onto that individual or that conversation. And now you can apply this to any context. You could be on a sales call and you're just about to, close that customer and you're going to make the sale, and all of a sudden something comes up. Just by being silent, you don't always have to add. Sometimes they might just tell you what it is. You just have to create the space for them to do that. Same goes for a relationship. Same goes for, even your own thought, creating that uninterrupted, objective space. And this is what I do when I'm having one-to-one coaching conversations in my coaching sessions with my clients all around the world, and also in the Revolution Hive Mastermind. Is just giving people space to ask them a question. How was your week? Like, really? And then letting them share. This is a really powerful technique. Go away and use it. I recommend that you do what I do. I'm always doing crazy little experiments myself, and one of them that I do is just to have a day of noble silence, or a weekend where I just don't speak, no matter what you say to me. And in those days and those weekends, I really notice things about people around me. I really notice things I hadn't picked up on otherwise because I was too busy reacting. But just by taking a step back, being an objective observer, you'll notice those little details and you'll have better information and a more realistic picture of what's actually happening instead of the projection that we create. So let me know what you think, guys. Post in the comments below. Are you a good listener? How are you going to use the techniques that I shared with you today? How are you going to go and implement it? And just like a bumblebee gathers pollen from different flowers, sit back, observe, let people project and share, add what's unique and useful and discard what isn't. And I'll talk to you next time. Peace.